already know. And in particular, there's a lot of details about the future game mode for Illuvium and how Illuvium is going to be an overworld combat game. But also, there's a lot of information about major changes coming to Illuvium, some current bugs that I didn't actually know about before, and other things like that. So I'm looking forward to sharing all that with you guys. How you going, man?
Good, man. Busy, always. I mean, I start the same way every week. But no, very excited. There's a couple of things that I think the reception, I think I might have said this last week as well. Reception's been really good. A lot of cool things coming still. Not Grant, what's his name? Dick came out with where we're starting to do a little bit of like the questing stuff, a very janky version of it. So, yeah, I think things are just going to get way more exciting from here.
Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen that yet, let's start off with something really cool.
You know, we can see your messages, by the way, right?
Can you? That's right. The Alluvial Hunter series has just gone live. Hetty and Mjol, if you get them within the next 2 days, you go into the raffle to earn 4 ILV all in one hit, which would be like insane if you manage to win it. How many players do we think are going to capture both of these? We can already see a lot of comments with people saying they've caught it.
Yeah,
what are we talking? 1,000? Or are we talking like 5,000?
I don't know, but it'd be, again, we wanted to start off with a pretty simple objective, and we can play around with slightly more complex, difficult things later on. We just wanted to see how this would go. But with this one, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a pretty high success rate. And if you did fail, you don't deserve to be playing. Like, just it's a pretty easy task to complete.
Well, it's not that easy. It's a tier 3 to tier 4, so it's a little bit hard. It's not hard to find them if you're brand new to the game, but if you haven't got any of your Alluvial team or your gear and stuff up yet, you probably wouldn't be able to actually beat them in a battle in a stage 2.
Yeah, you're right. You're starting today. And what's actually really funny is I actually don't have a Hetty or a Mule. Actually, I'm realizing it now. I've got a Crunk. I've got 2 Crunks, but no Hetties, and I don't have a Mule, so I wouldn't even be eligible for this. I need to go and check for it.
I have acquired them both once in the past. The old being
go and do it again.
The most recent thing I've caught in my testing thing. Cool. But I'm looking forward to. I can add that to my Scoriox stream that's happening straight after the download. So I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
All right. So first, we've got a couple of Alluvial leaks. We've got. I always forget which one's which when it comes to the foxes.
Yeah, I don't know any of these. I'm not gonna lie.
Stage 2, maybe. I have no idea. I'm not. I'm just not going to try anymore. That one looks sick. The Null is actually one of my favorite Alluvials. I think it looks absolutely awesome. These videos never seem to work for us when we want them to, but looks absolutely stunning. I can't get over this one in particular. I can't wait until all of this 3D art is like 4K in the game. I know they've got 1080p version that they think you're putting in, but I can't wait till it's all upscaled and everything as well. So I'm looking forward to that. How's it going, Jeff or Nicholas? So this one was really interesting. Someone asked in the Discord, Revan, when Alluvial combat preview, sir? And Dimitri says that it is coming very, very soon. Can you tell us just how close this thing is? The preview.
It's in the pipeline. So, yeah, deal with that. I don't know if people in the chat understand what that means, but I will say that it is already in the pipeline.
So it sounds like it's being produced, guys, which means the feature is in a good enough stage where they can record footage and everything like that, which is very exciting for the future of Illuvial combat.
I'm really excited for this feature, man. Like, again, I've personally only actually tried it way back when we first. I haven't tried anything recent. I just haven't had time. But yeah, it was fun even in the jankiest of states. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like now. And I've been talking with a couple of people internally as well on some ideas for Overworld. And it's very exciting stuff. Like, very, very exciting stuff. I know the last couple of times I've been here, I've kind of said, like, I've tried to temper my attitude towards things of, all right, look, I'm not going to go overly excited and overly hype something, but I'm not going to be, I'm trying to just be very objective about it. But if Overworld combat plays out the way we would like it to, and one of these other ideas that we have in our mind, if that does happen, holy, Like it just takes the game to a whole other level. And yeah, it's I'm gonna be speaking with Andre about it later tonight, directly after this meeting actually. So we've got and I'm gonna even try and incentivize him with some of my salary to to get it done over the weekend or something like that, so we can get a trial version of it. But if that does come to fruition, holy, it's I'm legit lost for words. If it does happen, wow.
I got thinking about this a bit more as the discussions have continued to evolve, and I'm actually really gonna miss the auto battler. Although I know it kills the momentum a little bit and stuff like that, there are some really fantastic elements to that. The way it interacts with the shards and your ability to capture the different alluvials, the way you can enhance the difficulty of battles really easily. Whereas I fear without the auto battler, the game might actually be a little bit too easy. But I mean, everyone feels differently about this sort of stuff. But someone else, I believe it was Yeetbra, you might know him from the Discord. He talked to a bunch of his really heavy Web 2 friends, and one of them had a really interesting suggestion that I don't know how I feel about, but he suggested a Final Fantasy style thing where basically, let's say you run into an alluvial, and then it takes you into like an instance, and maybe it just puts like a wall in just like a small zone, and a bunch of other alluvials come out, and it's essentially like a full first person auto battler type thing. You know what I mean? Like you do full combat.
When was the last time you played Final Fantasy?
A long time ago.
Final Fantasy now is actually it's interesting because you've got Final Fantasy originally was a turn-based combat, and now they've gone into a free-flowing action RPG. And with the latest ones, they've actually got it so it is action RPG, but you're able to freeze time and switch it into a more tactical turn-based thing at the same time, so you're able to switch it. So I think there is some credibility to the suggestion. What I personally, this is me, Taran, not from the team. What I would like to see would actually be having NPCs. So the world be Overworld being Overworld combat. That's it. But there would be NPCs and around the Overworld that if you did want to go in and participate in a arena style battle, you have that option there, and it maybe just offers different kind of rewards, different kind of opportunities. Whether it's maybe you can't capture creatures in that instance, but it offers you a much higher XP boost. I don't know, like there are things that you can play around, levers to pull around there, but that's how I would like to see arena integrated in the long term. The auto battler integrated in the long term. Sorry, in Overworld. Have it as a side piece rather than the main thing.
I think the thing that scares me most about alluvial combat is currently the alluvials are so spread out that it would feel really underwhelming. Alluvial combat, I feel like, would be at its strongest when you're fighting a dual F and 5 Grokkos at the one time. Yep. You know what I mean? And they're all ganging up on you, which is hard to envision yet because we don't really have that sort of thing set up. But I hope that's the direction they go in.
I will say that the first version that we did test out, it was that. So the first version that I tested out, it was 7 or 8, give or take, alluvials. So yeah, absolutely, we understand that that's going to be a thing, and that can be easily balanced by introducing tier zeros into these things. So you might find a Rampy, he might be surrounded by a bunch of tier 0 buddies. So they create that atmosphere around it without spoiling the rarity of tiered alluvials.
So G Hamster asks, G Hamster asks, we have dye in PB4 but no blueprints to craft cosmetics. Any word on us having access to BPs on testnet to test crafting cosmetics? I mean, it's a pretty simple loop. I'm not sure you necessarily need to test it. You need to test blueprints going on chain and interacting with things, but I'm not sure how necessary that is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that should be coming sooner rather than later as well.
So the next one we've got, is this one here.
Hold on, sorry. I just want to bring this up. I just want to make sure I understand it. It'd be great to have NPCs in runs. They don't use energy, but offer. That just cannot happen. That would screw up the entire ecosystem because you could go in for one run, never leave, level till max level. Like, it's just not a possibility. There needs to be some cost to it. Anything that equals infinity, just it ruins the economy. Something like the Federal Reserve or the fiat money printer. Anything that is infinite, it's gonna ruin the economy at some point. So yeah, that would need a cost.
I never actually thought about that. But even if like you encountered them in the battle and you can only battle them once, that would be good. So
yeah, that's what I mean. There needs to be a limit to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So the next thing we've got here is from Ben. Okay. So firstly, they're playtesting roaming T0 alluvials throughout the regions just to make them feel a bit more populated. Now, as long as they don't overdo it, I think this is a perfectly fine idea. So the other thing is that a T5 S3 alluvial would cost you on average hundreds of dollars worth of fuel to see. Right now, due to progression being rather janky, it's often better, easier to capture T5 S3, and they're too common currently due to a bug with spawning. That's really funny. I always felt like they were way too common. It's really funny to hear that there's a bug with spawning. I don't know what exactly that means, but that's really funny to me. The plan longer term is 95 out of 100 of stage 3 alluvials to be byproducts of leveling and fusing rather than capturing. Yeah, so they need to fix up a lot of the progression systems, but it sounds like the team is across that already. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yo, sorry, I was laughing at this. This was a pretty funny idea. So when the sphere comes in, all of the enemies are also trying to escape. All the Illuvials trying to escape the sphere, and they all join you in there. And it's just like this massive muck about. It's not a bad idea. It's pretty funny. It is pretty funny.
That would be very amazing. It'd be easy to find the ones you wanted, but it'd be harder to fight them.
Yeah. I think, again, something like that would kind of ruin the economy of it because you would just go and trigger it and then it'd be weird to balance. It's not something that I would want to balance.
So the other thing is that in terms of T0 into the runs, he just said that to make them feel. I just covered that. Oh my god, sorry about that. Okay, so as for leveling up alluvials, level 40 plus is supposed to be an endless grind. So it makes it like the alluvials you were using for years across multiple games and still have fun getting the XP. Honestly, I actually really like this idea. Like 3 years down the track, some dude's got like a level 200 Ramfire. Now, It's not giving him a whole bunch of benefits, but it's just kind of cool that you know he's an OG because he's got a level 200 Ramfire, and that's super cool. He gives him nicknames and all the rest of it. It's sick. All right.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the XP for leveling alluvials is too long, and Ben has already said that it is being fixed. It is mostly placeholder via the algorithm currently. So they haven't put a whole lot of effort into how much XP you require and all the rest of it, and they are adjusting and fixing it. So music to my ears. It's pretty much my one and only major gripe with the game right now.
Well, not the crafting?
There's two. There's the crafting's not great.
It's horror. You can say it's horror.
So the XP to level up is too long. That's the one big one. The other big one is that the ores aren't on chain, and that shits me to death.
Nah. That's because, you're a nerd. But, yeah. The two biggest things are, the leveling. In my opinion, it's the leveling. There's three things. Leveling, crafting, the Forge experience, the UI, UX is just less than ideal would be putting it very politely. And just in general quality of life changes. I think those are the three major things for now.
What the beauty of that is, and I agree with you, what the beauty of that is that those are the things that are easy to fix, change, and update. It's the putting alluvials in the overworld that's hard to do. You know what I mean? So
and that's the thing is really exciting is that the major things are pretty much, I won't say major, like the things that need to get implemented in terms of the UI UX. Like I'm looking at the updated stuff already internally. Already a huge upgrade on what we have. Like they're moving so quickly on that. All of that shouldn't be that difficult to do. It's the final pieces, the overworld combat. It's things like that will be important, and then the rest are just kind of the cherry on top and the final polishing of extra weapons, the NFTs, the artwork. All of that is just the final things on top. But we're moving much closer to much faster, which is very, very cool.
So there are some big changes coming to how you hunt alluvials in the overworld, and Ben describes them here. Mm-hmm. Basically, the alluvial you can see in the region running around, that's the one you can capture. In the encounter, we spawn ethereal alluvials. They are there to make the battles interesting, fun, and challenging, and it allows us to separate the economy and the gameplay experience and fix the progression curves, XP, and fun. Now, I totally get this. This makes it a lot easier to control everything and ensure that nothing's getting out of hand. At the same time, this needs to come with a bunch of upgrades to work properly. For example, way more alluvials in the overworld. That's just matter of fact. The team knows this. But I think this would be a really interesting change. I have a feeling this is going to be the case because of alluvial combat, which is basically all about alluvials in the overworld. And so they kind of have to go down this path anyways. So I like the idea of this.
Sorry to cut you off here, but one of the things with this is just, again, my opinion. I'm not speaking for Ben or anything like that. But I think something like this would be cool because right now we're having a bunch. With something like this is where you could see an Archie and a Ramfy and this thing all together. They're all together. And then depending on which one you want to go and target, things like that, you'll see a lot more variety and you can start clumping them together. Like a lot more of that starts opening up with something like this compared to what we have now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Okay. So the next one here is all about the DAO. Philo's trying to make a point that the DAO shouldn't be deciding how much things cost, or at least Illuvium Lab shouldn't be deciding a lot of this stuff and trying to kind of like puppeteer the economy of Illuvium. But Ben says that the DAO votes for council members to represent our best interests and trust them to do so. Some details are harmful to have out in the wider discussion and things like that. And they also do data analysis and discussions with people in the DAO community, and you can see in the chat. It's something people have very strong opinions on. He has seen people proposing price points for decks and so forth that would see the DAO bankrupt. I'm not a community manager. He doesn't have interest in doing all this discussion. Anyways, I just wanted to hone in on this DAO bankrupt thing because I think it's very, very important. We had this a lot during Illuvium Beyond Wave 3 discussions as well, and I made my points known then as well, that simply put, you can't just ask for costs of different things in Illuvium to be 50 cents, 1 cent, free, whatever, because eventually the DAO needs to make money to keep running. And so you can't just give away everything for free. The DAO will go bankrupt very quickly. And I know, and everyone's, even myself, even you, Taryn, everyone will have an inherent bias the minute they say anything. They'll be like, oh, I want it to be this price. Because in the back of your mind, you want to be able to pay that price. You always do. That's just, there's an inherent bias there. And it's a collective of people that are building this thing. And the people that like have their livelihoods that are depending on the DAO, their opinion matters
there is
just as much, if not more.
There is a thing that we speak about. So I've been in sales for over a decade. So one of the biggest things that they teach you in sales, or you learn in sales very, very quickly, is don't sell with your own wallet. And what that means is don't go into a sale thinking about what you think is cheap or expensive. That's the wrong way to do it. And I think that's what a lot of people in the community are doing. And that's why I personally agree with Ben. I'm not the community manager. I've decided to take myself out of the community conversation a little bit more because I see it happening a lot. And it's very hard to be productive in that space if you're trying to speak out of it from your wallet. I invested this. I want this. Cool. It's not about your personal feelings. It's an entire thing. And we need to understand what is required to make it run successfully, to actually make sense. There are so many variables to take into account. And I think that a lot of the times, the price points that people consider or propose, like I say, is from their own wallet. And that's the worst thing you could do when deciding something like as impactful as this.
And I think the other thing that needs to be said is 99.99% of these people that suggest these price points and things like that, they're coming into this with good intentions. They don't really mean it in this way or anything like that. Just agree with me. But like, it's just one of those things where everyone has an inherent bias, again, myself included, and we have to be mindful of that when we're suggesting this sort of stuff, and we just kind of have to trust the process. But that's what makes the free market economy style gameplay so impactful. If the DAO is wrong, the price should decrease because no one wants to buy it, and I think that's cool.
I think if people want to discuss these things, come in with actual data and facts. Use other examples. Come in with references. Like, back up your argument. Not, and I mean, we saw this as well during the Beyond sale thing. Back in we had a lot of people. If it was this price, I personally would buy it. Bro, it's not. We're not making a decision based on you personally might buy more, or I personally feel this way. That's not how this works. Come in with facts, data. That's how we run this. Not. It's funny because I had a conversation with my wife about the same things. Like, oh, I feel like that doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just irrelevant. Not irrelevant, but it holds very little weight when it comes to making a decision as impactful as this. And real quick, I want to address what Sam said or asked. Yeah, man, it's very obvious. There's two major variables regarding this. One, we're limited to the amount of players, so the total volume and revenue it's skewed down. It's a weird one because ideally on open beta we're gonna have much more players, so that should blow it out the water. And second, I think someone else brought it up, play to earn. Everyone is getting paid 0.5 ETH for free, at least just through Illuvium if they're not using another faucet. If they are, that's 1,000, 3,000 US a day. Well, that's one full ETH. I'm pretty certain most people are not getting paid $3,000 a day, so the spending is just it's very much skewed. So we'll see how it works when we do launch, but I do think we will get some whales. I know for a fact we're going to get some whales that go crazy into it, and I'm very interested to see how it all plays out. I mean, can we ask in chat how much they are willing to spend on like the first month? Kieran asked us. I'd love to throw it to the chat as well. Everyone in chat, if you could leave how much you think you're going to spend in month one, let us know. I think that should give us a good indicator.
I think on Sam's question, it's interesting to see how much people are spending. What I do know is that we can't really trust those numbers, and that's fine. However, there is information we can trust. And since this game is very similar to pretty much the game it's going to be on open beta, we can actually take cues from sentiment more in general. And in my opinion, sentiment for the gameplay of Illuvium is at an all-time high right now, which says a lot for its future. And I think it's going to have a successful initial launch at the very least. Looks like we got one person saying 1K, Twan saying 200, 100, Dennis saying 1K, play to earn 1 ETH. 1 ETH is sick. Planning 20K USD for my first 24-hour stream.
Yo,
Did you say that as me? You said that as me. I don't have 20K USD. A Visit for 1,000, 300 USD for Tune. So I think on average, we're looking at about 1,000 if you take out the comment TSG did on my behalf. Even me personally is actually about 1K for the first month. But probably 10K overall over several years. You know,
is that 1K SRV2 only, or 1K USD on top of that? Or
I'm talking about on top of my SRV2.
Yeah.
But I'll probably be buying SRV2 with that second 1K. So, but I mean, yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I was talking to Dick about it, and I was saying something pretty similar. In terms of,
But it really, if I manage to sell some Alluvials and make a profit, I'll probably spend even more. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where I don't really have that much money to spend right now, and that's just how it is. But I'm looking forward to playing the game, so it's going to be more about maximizing my spend rather than spending big bucks.
Yeah.
So the next thing we've got here is that for the spawn rates per region, Ben says that it is not related to the Illuvium 0 chart. We have values that were set in the land sale, which are the values that will be used when all regions are unlocked. But since just 3 regions are playable, currently those values are not live. Now, in my personal experience, I think they are somewhat live, but they have tinkered with them quite a bit. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing any fire Alluvials in the other 2 regions. So there is a bit of tinkering. But I definitely think there's some correlation for sure. Okay, I wanted to point this one out. Someone found the old bug from 2 years ago where an Aluvial on his team became an enemy Aluvial.
What the hell? That's hilarious.
This is a bug when they first dropped the survival mode, and it's apparently it's returned. Aaron said, like, what the hell? I haven't seen this in ages.
But I haven't seen this at all. This is hilarious.
That's my favorite Illuvium bug ever. So, I really want to see that battle play out. But yeah, that is so funny. Okay. The next thing is that as for leveling up Alluvials in the game, all modes will level up Alluvials. Even Gauntlet will give EXP if you play units that you own. So even if you don't need to have Atlas in your Gauntlet deck, if you have an Atlas equipped in maybe like a side team thing that doesn't affect the game, it will get EXP points. Even though you aren't really bringing them into the game, how exactly that works, he's not sure. He's sorting through it now. So really cool to hear that. I like that.
Yeah, the XP and leveling through Arena is one of the big priorities right now. So it should be good.
It's so satisfying to see too, and encouraging people to play the ranked mode because they get benefits in Overworld is interoperable blockchain gaming at its finest. Let's put it that way. No,
and what's really cool about that as well is you should be able to, especially if you go into there are benefits to it. I won't go into it too much, but yeah, there are benefits to it, which are really cool.
Yeah, the more the games link to each other, the better for Illuvium as a whole. And other games haven't really done this all that well. A lot of them are trying to build all these metaverse experiences and things like that, and they're not really. Illuvium's built the entire thing with this stuff in mind, and other people. Illuvium thought about all of this before they even made their first 3D model. You know what I mean? And that is a core reason why Illuvium is doing it so well, whereas other people are trying to pivot and add this stuff in after the fact. It's definitely doable. It's just a lot harder to pull off well. And so, really proud of this community. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm glad. We've had this chat behind the scenes, but it's like, man, we know some of the stuff that's coming up. I can't believe we've been here we've come a long way, man. From where we started, it's been good to grow with this, grow with you in this space together, especially as we're so close to actually launching. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Let's just get it out. Oh my god! All right. So the next thing we've got
end of 2021, man. End of 2021.
Yeah, the ultimate release. Kieran has said he'll send out more codes based on player history across the 3 games tonight. He said that my time 9 hours ago. So hopefully sometime soon, a bunch more codes are going to go out. Looking forward to that. The next one we've got here is in staking chat. And this one's quite interesting. As for the ILV ETH pool, there's many in the community that have concerns that removing all the liquidity from that pool is going to negatively affect the token. In a variety of ways, but more or less it will increase slippage and make it kind of harder to trade the token, which is not a good thing. Let's put it that way. So he first said that anyone who has to unstake ILV ETH will have to sack their 2x multiplier, or at least sack their what I like to call god tier tokens. So there's that. Cosmetic bonuses. We're going to upgrade the contract to include some kind of bonus program where people earn cosmetics if they're staked. That would be sick. That alone is making me want to leave my tokens in that pool. Current liquidity. Apparently, even if we lost half the liquidity, it would still be more than fine. I have checked some of this on chain. We have quite a bit in there. We don't actually need more than 30% of it, really. Fees. They earn fees. Obviously, this is going to be some whales that like that stuff. Potential future airdrops. People staked in the pool earn a larger amount being staked in that pool. I don't know exactly what he's talking about here, or if he's referring to the loyalty airdrop, but that's exciting to hear. Conversion. We're likely to see people who unstake convert to ILV. Good buying pressure. Great, whatever. And a future idea. He's working on something in the background that could completely remove the need for people to unstake, but it's too early to discuss. He'll update the DAO once he has more accurate info. Now, even myself, I thought about, do I write an ICCP to make it so if you're staked in the liquidity pool, you get 10, 20% buff? But then that's really unfair on people that didn't stake in that pool. So it's one of those things.
Yo, by the way, do you have the 2 IIP things that Kieran put in to go over?
They're next.
Cool. I just remembered them. I actually don't even know what they were talking about.
They're good. They got a lot of upvotes. Let's put it that way. All right. So I got one more thing before that. So first we've got Jeremy here saying that the armor in Overworld doesn't have much use at the moment, and it's going to get more uses later. What could this be, Taran? Hype me up.
About the armor, I'm actually not even sure what he's referring to.
Could it boost your guns abilities, make you run faster, anything?
Yeah. There's a bunch. I was talking to the team last week as well about not even armor, but just in general. Because one of the things that we've seen, and I think this is public knowledge, is we've seen huge usage for Hyperion and
Yeah.
Krypton, but not Solon. And so I've spoken to the team and we've suggested ideas of potential just like utility items. So XP share, XP boost, a
Oh yeah.
fire magnet, or whatever you call it, where you have a high chance of finding fire, bulwark. Like there's all of these different things. Maybe all if you can have something that gives all of your alluvials an attack boost, but a defense debuff. There's all of these things that we can play around with, right? As potential items, utility items that you could use. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that are coming. Weapons, armors, like there's very like I say, we're very happy with the current state, but I think Kieran might have even said this publicly, and I think he was laughing about it of like how far we actually are to getting not to open beta, but how far we are to getting to where we really want to and hit the real potential of this game. And when we do, holy, like, yeah, I'm very excited for this meeting after this live stream. Like, I know they're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. So yes,
Yeah, I think I only just
a lot to
realized that
expect.
with alluvial combat, you'll need suits to not die so fast as well. So
Oh,
that's the
I
obvious
know
one.
exactly what. Yep, it just came back to me. Yep, alluvial combat. I know exactly what Jeremy is talking about. And yes, I
So
can't say it, but play around in that area for a bit.
so that is exciting. That is exciting. All right. So I'm glad that more of these things are getting use. Plants got more use in this beta, which was really cool. Weapons got way more use in this beta. We're just missing suits. So they're doing really well with making everything in the Illuvium universe feel like it belongs.
Are you using the AI stuff for the eyes?
Yeah, I usually turn it off, but I forgot.
Wow, that's so strange. Yo, Dimitri, did you do the AI thing? Was that really you dancing on stage? The video that Dick posted. Do you have that, Scariox?
No.
Do you want to get that? Maybe we can. No, it's the little Yachty thing. Yeah, Dick
Oh,
Dimitri. That's little Yachty.
That sounds
So
funny.
good, so good. Don't fire me, Dimitri. It was my concert. Yeah, cool.
All right. Here we got the next one is one of these two proposals. Firstly, it's changing Illuvium Zero launch timing to synchronize release with Overworld and Arena. I'll give you the cliff notes here. Make Illuvium Zero launch with Arena. Blueprint minting Panarian features will be available after launch, 6 to 8 weeks after. Mega cities will be delayed 8 to 12 weeks. Essentially, they're giving up some of these features they wanted to have for launch to make sure the game comes out in time. That sums it up really well. I don't know what else to say. All right. The next one is adjusting vesting and season lengths for the loyalty airdrop and gameplay airdrops. Now, the Community Council had a lengthy discussion on this to make sure we understood it properly. Because the proposal was a little confusing to me. Paz figured it out really quickly. The others, I had a bit of... Anyways. Here's how it works. Basically, every month, you will get an airdrop. Let's say you get 10 ILV. You will get 5 of that ILV up front, and the other 5 ILV, you'll have to wait 3 months to get. But you can claim some of that early. For example, after 1 more month, you might have 1.5 of that ILV available. You can claim that and pretty much destroy the other 3.5 ILV. So you get 50% up front, and then if you claim early for the rest of it, you forfeit the rest of the gains. Maybe you claim 1 day before the 3 months, and then you lose a little bit of it. I don't know. But basically, that's the idea. 3-month vesting, everyone gets some airdrop up front to help incentivize those sorts of people to join the ecosystem, get involved. Overall, I think it's good. I think 50% is way too big. Could have done like 20%, would have had the same effect, but that's just me.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I didn't mind either, but cool.
So
people are happy.
Tuan Tran, I actually have a really important question because I've been having trouble finding this answer. You found out yesterday this game is quite cool, and you got the key at the second. Glad to hear you got a key. Glad to hear you're playing. That's awesome. How did you find it? Because there's been a bit of marketing stuff, but my feed is still like mostly the core community, mostly my own little bubble. And I'd love to now know how a lot of these new players are actually finding Illuvium And I've seen that a lot of them really enjoy it, but I'd love to see how they're finding it in the first place. So that's exciting.
Yep. What's next? He'll respond when he responds, Skyrox.
Stop talking as me. He's in a special Discord channel. All right, that's cool. All right. So the next thing I've got is actually one of my tweets. I put out a vote for, is the Illuvium Overworld PB4 any good? Obviously, I should have had a fourth response that was like show result.
Oh, wow. Sorry, yeah, hold up. Crypto Cove. Yeah, I know Crypto Cove. Glad that's where you came from. That's really cool.
So 65.5% said the game is amazing. 9.4% said they don't like it. Under 10% is good. And then 25% still want access to the game. So overall, a really good turnout. Sentiment, as I said, is an all-time high. I made this poll 6 months ago, it would have been 50-50. It's good and it's boring, or probably like 80% boring.
Loved the poll to have one more where it's adequate and then it's amazing. Like boring as fun. Like you went to extremes, which I understand the engagement reasons for it, but I would have liked a more accurate gauge on sentiment. Like
I needed like an other thing at the bottom or something like that. But that's fine.
I mean, you could have gone 4 options, G, but yeah, all good.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Okay.
Step up.
And so the last thing we have here is the Hunter series, which we talked about at the start of this episode. So go out and capture them. Also, straight after this stream, I'm going to be streaming myself, continuing the hunt for Scoriox. I'm excited to get into it. I can't wait to see what I find today. I'm going to get some master shards and things. And then who knows, I might even run into a Scoriox today and it might crush me. That'd make for a great revenge story. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this one up?
Keep supporting Scoriox.
Easy enough?
Okay? Yeah, why are you making this so awkward, man?
I'm so tired. I'm so burnt out right now.
Guys, appreciate you. Lots of things coming. Like, subscribe, and like again. Enjoy.
I'll be streaming in like 10 minutes.